as we lay here, you're just going to start to manage what's going on with your breath and your mind. Okay, so we have, I always like to interject the planetary stuff that happens as well, because think of like all the planets are floating above you and they intersect with the earth at different times. So they all have specific energies, and then that travels down as lines to the earth. And they matter. It changes people's emotions, it changes people's behaviors and attitudes and thinking. And so, if we understand it and we can have our bodies and minds be in a more balanced, harmonized state, then we can handle the people that maybe aren't and have more of a, crazy wave of events in their lives, right? So, it's like personal responsibility as we go through these things. So as you lay here, you're just thinking, okay, so you have your own body, you have your own bubble, you have your own energy, and you can control what you can control. So we can control that you're taking this time for yourself. You're being mindful about it. There's, an intelligence to it. And then you have the heart, right? You have this heart that you go out into the world with, hoping that if you can better yourself, you better your experiences. So that's what these classes are all about. So we'll take one hand to your belly. So this is your power center. We'll take another hand over towards the heart center, and we just hold these 2 points. So we hope to lead from our heart. Of course, we need intelligence to go through things, but sometimes if there's an overthinking process of it, it leads us awry. So you can have one hand on the heart. This is a different type of leading throughout life. And then the hand on the belly is your power center. So this is you standing into things you believe in, having your boundaries, just feeling overall strong to step out. So we're getting ready for this energy of the week that may be a little too much for other people. So we are, housing our own internal experiences, especially with the physical body. So as we move today, you're starting to experience your own things and internalize them and intellectualize them. And again, it's part of that personal responsibility. So just connect in. You have this line of energy that travels up and down the spine. As you have a hand on the heart and the belly, this is like connecting into that traveling, that trajectory up and down the spine. And if these centers are blocked, so you have heartbreak in life or someone has taken your power away from you, then these points don't actually travel up and down well. It could be that they get stuck. So our hands here with that circular palm, the palm has energy. You're just helping to connect into this process. You woke up today, you have life, you have health. And so we acknowledge the gratitude of that. We take account for every breath that we take. It's a gift. And there's this deeper essence that we connect into. So let's lengthen out the breaths even more. So there's no hurry for the inhalation and there's no rush as you inhale. It's almost like you're sipping in the breath of life. And there's this little bit of switch that occurs between the breaths, between the inhale and between the exhale. Bless you. And in that little switch, there's like eternity, there's peace, there's love, there's all these things within that teeny tiny switch between the breaths. So notice when you inhale and when you exhale, where that switch occurs. And we're going to pay attention to that. Beautiful. And then we'll take the hands away so you can bring them out to your sides if they're not already there. And we're going to let the head roll left to right. So just getting a sense of the head on the floor. The body is such a beautiful way to check in with yourself. So it is deeply connected to the emotions and the mental state, right? So when we can smooth out the physical body, this is going to help the thoughts and the mind as well. So here we have this tangible sensation, the head rolling against the floor. Let's press the head slightly further back into the floor as it rolls. So it's almost like you're deliberately creating a line back and forth. And we can even observe if the rest of the body is still and quiet or if it's engaging in some way to press the head down. So what we try to do on Sundays is really get a sense of where we can be active and where we can be, unactive, quiet, less energized. So one more each way. And when you're done, the head comes back to center, and there's this beautiful stillness in between. And we seemingly look still from the outside, but on the inside, there's so much beautiful chaos keeping you alive. So we just honor that. Okay, so let's go ahead and bend the knees if you haven't already. And we'll let the knees drape left to right. So we have this side to side. And again, we get this deeper sense. So you have a sensation that occurs by doing this. We see how that feels within the thought patterns, right? And then we notice what emotions it brings up. So sometimes we have emotions stuck in the hips. So over time, there's less and less connected emotions to this. And it's more just a joy of moving, this appreciation for being able to move. The next time the knees drop to one side, let's keep them there. And then we layer on the awareness of breath. So when you're paused in a movement, you have that opportunity. We'll let the knees go over to the other side. So same thing. Once you're settled into a posture, you layer on the breath in a way that makes sense. Nice. And then we bring the knees back to center. So we're just going to do something as simple as moving the feet, and let's do it in stages. So let's start to take one foot, walk it open to the side, place it back down, take the other foot, walk it out to the side, and you're going to alternate until you go to your widest presentation for this. Okay. And then once you're there, you pause. Tune into the sensations, maybe around the pelvis, the hips, the back. Okay. And then one at a time, again, you're going to start to walk the feet back in little stages, little steps. You're observing even the movement of the pelvis, if it's rocking quite a bit. Okay, let's walk open again. And there's all the time in the world to do this. You have so much time to just lift that foot barely, place it back down, and really get the sense of the foundation in the foot. And when you're at your max capacity, and then we come back. So you just start to walk back ever so slowly, noticing the two sides, how it transfers to the center of the body, up and down that spine. And we come back to the center, and we'll do that one more time. So you're slowly walking out one foot and then the other foot. And as you pick it up and go wider, and when the foot draws back down, there's this little hinge of the ankle. Like there's so many mini actions that are happening. Once you're at your widest point, we just observed there. And then slowly we come back. We're one foot at a time, steps up and comes down. It lifts up and comes down. And there's almost this little bit of rock of the pelvis that happens as you do it. Beautiful. And then we hold at center. We'll take the knees in at the chest. And we'll get a little rock side to side. So there's a deeper sense of sensation even here. We go across that back, maybe even getting a little bit towards the hip. And there's no rush. It's like you have all the time to really observe the sensations that go across the back, how it interplays with the upper body as you hold the knees. And then we come back to center. So at center here, let's just go ahead and give the legs a little bit of a hug here. So if in front of the knees doesn't feel great, you always have behind. And there's again this stillness as the choreographed chaos of the internal body happens. So we'll take another breath. Beautiful. And then we bring the feet back down to the floor. Okay, and we're going to take the arms up towards the ceiling. So we're going to do something similar with the arms here. So you're going to take one arm and it's going to go out to the side just a bit, pause. Take the other arm, bring it out to the side just a little bit, pause. And you're just going to keep going, open a little bit and open a little bit on each side. And you keep doing this until the arms are all the way flat to the floor. And you hold there. And then we're going to do the same thing coming back. So one arm comes up a little bit, pause. The other arm up a little bit, pause. And you're just going to keep going closer and closer towards the center line with so little effort. We have so much effort in our days as it is. We'll use this one day during the week to just be able to rest into movement. So really utilizing the effects of gravity and the ground. So we'll do that again. Each arm, one at a time, is just going to open up a little bit in stages. The wrists are so soft. The arm is so soft. The shoulder blade gets a little bit heavier as each stage goes until you're all the way to the ground. We hold into this full relaxation, and then we go back. One arm at a time starts to lift in little stages until you're all the way back to center. And we do it one more time. So little stages. And how cool is it that the body can move without us having to, ultimately engage a ton of muscles? It just moves. So let's come back. And when you're back at center, let the arms get heavy in the shoulder socket. Just observe, take a breath. And then we'll take both arms up overhead towards the floor. And if they do reach all the way overhead, just let them rest there and weight down. And there's this new opening of the body. So the lungs have a little bit more space, the chest has a little bit more expanse. There's a little bit of tug on the lymph nodes underneath the arms. And then we'll bring the arms up, but do it in a way that's so light. It's like they're floating as they come up. So there's not a ton of tension. Yeah. Okay. And then we'll do it again. The arms start to come overhead. So little effort. Gravity takes over. They come to the floor. There's a little bit of tug and stretch. So feel into that. We'll bring the arms back up. Yes. Beautiful. And one more. So good. Nice job. And then when you feel ready, bring them back up to the start. So instead of fighting against the body, we have this harmony of just letting it go and then letting the body respond to its environment. So the muscles will engage when they need to. So let's bring the arms back down, palms facing up, and let's take the right leg up towards the ceiling. Good. So in a way, it's trying to settle and stack. If it doesn't easily, just bend the knee. So it doesn't have to be all the way straight. Okay. So you're going to start to, in stages, let the leg go a little bit wider, and you're going to keep going just as we've been doing. And when you find the edge, just let it pause there. So we don't have to go further, but we know where our max is. This is really good to know just in general. And then you slowly start to bring it in stages back. Now there's probably a little bit more work that has to happen because the leg is heavier, the span is wider. Good, let's do it again. So in stages, the leg just slowly starts to open. You find your max, we hold there, and then we slowly start to come back. The foot is so relaxed, there's very little effort. We do the third one. Once you're at your max, we journey back in little stages where we pause along the way. Beautiful. Let's bring that foot down and just observe the two sides. So on its own, there's going to be activity that happens in that leg. Let's do the other side. So the leg comes up. So at first, there's a little bit of stacking that happens here. And then slowly, the leg starts to float open. And it pauses in little stages until you get to your max. And then it starts to come back. Okay, we have two more. So we do this like we have all the time in the world. There's no rush, especially for the stages as the leg opens. And then we come back. And we have that last one. And we come back. And that foot comes back down when you're done. And again, there's this little bit of observation that happens in between. Let's go ahead and take our hands behind the head. So the elbows have this beautiful width and expanse. And again, just on its own through this leveraged hold, because the hands are interlaced, the head are holding the hands down, you have a little bit of a tug across left to right. The lungs are a little bit more open to receive. And the lymph nodes under those arms, this is an important one, have space. there's a little bit of tug along those nodes. So we hold it to this. Now let's do this in stages as well. And it's going to be so light and it might not be a lot of movement. You're going to slowly start to unweight. And then you're going to unweight more. And we're pausing in stages. Unweight a little bit more. And the elbows are still wide like we began, maybe a little bit more. And then we have stages going back down. So just teeny tiny steps down where you keep releasing and releasing as you go until you're fully surrendered into the floor again. So this is an important piece because we want to know contraction, but we also want to know release. We'll do it again. So we slowly unweight, and then maybe we go a little bit higher. And they're just tiny stages of we're doing something effortful, but it's still trying to have it not have so much intensity that it's too much for the body. We have a lot of intensity in our lives. We come back down in those stages. And when you're ready, you fully relax back down. So it's good to know the opposites. So your body can go in between these at all times. Let's do one more. Slightly lift. Keep layering on, maybe a little bit more lift each time. It's so light. It's like we know that the abdominals are gauging, but we don't have to clench the buttocks. We don't have to press the feet down. We don't have to yank the head. The elbows are even soft. And we start to come down to the same degree, little stages, until you're all the way to the floor. And we hold. Let's take a breath. Nice. And then we release the hands from behind the head. Let's bring the arms down by our sides and we'll take another breath. So let's swing the body all the way to the right, but stack the hands so the one palm is on top of the other, where the arms are out in front of the chest. Okay, we're going to come into a little bit of a twist. So we're going to do this in stages. So your top hand is going to slide a little bit over the wrist. Then you're going to go maybe the hand up to the elbow. Then you're going to slide it maybe up to the shoulder. Then maybe you slide that hand across the chest, and then you're going to go a little bit open where maybe the back of the arm touches, and then the whole arm comes down towards the floor. So now you're in a full twist. And then we do the same thing coming across. So maybe you bend the elbow first, then maybe you lift the elbow up and off and come to your side. Then that hand glides to your elbow, to your wrist, and to your hand. So it's like these stages are very deliberate in your twist. Then you know where your edge is. Let's do it again. So we go to the twist. We go in pauses along the way. Because it could be that maybe the arm doesn't go all the way to straight, depending on how it feels. And we'll do one more. So you feel the points where the shoulder is supporting you. You feel the points where the head needs to float. You feel the rotation of that upper chest. Like the benefits of the pose are so obvious as we go through. So let's go ahead onto our backs again, feet flat, arms by your sides, and we hold. Let's again do what we started with, which was press the head slightly back into the floor and roll the head left to right. And the head comes back to center. We'll take a breath. Now let's do that little bit of twisting on the other side. So we go ahead and roll, roll everything to the left side now, where your arms are stacked. So one palm is over the other, arms are out from the chest, and the knees are together. So this is all upper body. Twists happen in that thoracic spine. So the hand drags to the wrist, it drags to the elbow. We pause along the way. It drags to the shoulder. We go across the chest. Now maybe the shoulder blades are touching the floor. Then the back of the arm tries to go towards the floor. And then there's a little bit of an unbend of the elbow. And then we have to come back. So we bend the elbow, hand comes to the shoulder, across the chest, we roll. And then maybe we pause at the elbow, the wrist, and then the hands are stacked again. And we do this 2 more times, just having a little sense of this creativity of what your body's doing, the awareness of how it's doing it. And then there's the bigger aspect of what engages muscularly, what moves mobility-wise, and what's a little bit sticky. So we just get a good sense. And when you're done, we go onto our backs again, feet flat. Arms are by your sides, and we'll roll that head again where the back of the head presses down just enough. So there's a little bit of pressure. And then we bring that head back to center. So our classes all throughout the week can be a little intense when we have some movements that can be a little harder than others. And life is like that as well. When we're sad, we know that it can't always stay that way. When we're happy, it can't always stay that way either. There's a neutrality to life that we have where we can kind of bounce between the emotions, not get stuck in them. And same thing with your nervous system, same thing with your breathing, same thing with your movements. Okay, I love how we can tackle the physical body to then tap into the other aspects. So let's go ahead and bring that right leg back up to the ceiling again. Now we're going to do rotations and we'll try to do it in stages. So let's try to turn open the leg just a tad. So a rotation, then even more. And then even more. So it stays stacked over the hip and we're getting an external rotation where it gets a little bit more intense each time. And then let's unwind the same way. So we back off a little bit more, until it gets to neutral. Now let's go the other way. So we go a little bit into internal rotation, pause, a little bit more, pause, and we keep going until you found your max rotation. And then we unwind the same. So it's tiny increments until you're back at neutral. Let's do that again. So we externally rotate, little increments, open. Yep, and then unwind, same way. So normally we just sweep right into it, but here we're taking our time. Now internally rotate past neutral. The internal rotation, you're probably not going to have as much swing, but we're just doing the best that we can. You start to slowly unwind that. Foot is very relaxed, so the movement's happening from the hip. And then we do one more time through of external rotation to internal rotation. So at one point you may feel a little bit of the hamstring engaging. Another one, you may feel a little bit more of the groin engaging. You're just getting that sense of the internal benefit. Once you come back to neutral, let's bring that leg down and we'll do the other side. So the leg comes up. So first it's just super relaxed. You know, the foot doesn't have to do too much. It's just hanging out there. Let's go to external rotation. So slight increments where you're rolling the whole leg open. And you'll get to a point where it doesn't really move anymore, but you can go into further effort. And then we slowly unwind from that place. And this has a little bit of coordination in it as well. Once you're at neutral, we try to go inward. So internal rotation. Good. And then you slowly start to back off, coming back to neutral. And we'll do 2 more each way. So pausing along the way. You could really get a sense if this side feels as good as the other side, or maybe it just feels different in a way that it's a little less coordinated. And when you're done and you're at neutral, bring that leg back down and just observe. So observe if your arms are clenching down and pushing down, or the back of your head. And if you can relax those in a way with that awareness, now that we have that more internal awareness. We'll take one more big breath in and all the way out. Now let's do this with hips in the rotations. So let's step the feet together, bringing the soles of the feet together. Now let's take the knees into your kind of neutral place. So possibly open. And we're going to start to bring the legs up towards one another. So let's do it in stages. So the knees start to lift a smidge, let them pause. They lift up a little bit more, let them pause. And we'll do this all along the way until you come to your max, which could be knees together. Okay, and then we do the same thing going open. The knees let go a little bit, they pause. A little bit more, they pause. Good. And when you get to the full neutral position here, let yourself just drape into gravity, the intensity of the opening, and then we go back. Knees start to come up a little bit more. So the inner thigh has to work, to some degree, a little bit more intensely as it starts to get higher up. Once you get to your max there, you start to go back open in little increments. No rush. And then when you get to your max position, fully rest. So it's like no engagement. And we do one more time. So knees start to come towards one another. And they'll journey however you like, as long as there's stages to it. Yes, so good. Okay, and then back open. Now the opening, fully relax into the hips. One breath there. And then we bring the feet flat. Okay, so just feel what you feel. So I still feel a residual in the inner thigh. You may feel it somewhere else. So just breathe into that. Okay, let's take the right ankle, hook it above that left knee. And so we have a hook here. So we start where it's pretty relaxed. The knees kind of draping away. Now let's do this. The ankle's going to stay on the knee, but you're going to bring the knee a little bit closer in towards the belly and a little bit closer in and a little bit closer. So it starts to kind of come in as the foot stays hooked. And then we go back out. So it goes open a little bit more. Yep. And it keeps going. So this is like one-sided, keeps going until you can fully release into no effort. We'll do it again. The knee starts to come a little bit in, closer in these stages as it starts to come closer to the body. And then we let it come away. So away from the belly, a little bit further away, even more. Let it relax. And then we do one more time through. So the knees just starts to travel inward as the foot stays hooked on the knee. And then we go out little stages until you're fully surrendered and relaxed into this So it's your relaxed place. So if your hips feel tight, it may not feel super relaxing, but it's your way of fully releasing without too much effort. Let's undo that and do the other side. So now the left ankle hooks above the knee and it drapes away. So this is like your relaxed place of not having to do much because you have a leveraged position here. Then the knee starts to come a little bit closer. A little bit closer. So think of the whole thigh trying to come a little bit closer towards the belly and chest. Okay. And then we bring it out and away. So little stages. Until you're fully released. And we have 2 more times. Incrementally bringing that leg in, trying to find more compression. And then incrementally away. And the away is that fully relaxed, fully rested place for your body. Okay, let's unhook that. And we'll bring the feet wide and take the knees in towards one another. So there's a certain sensation here in the hips, in the sacrum, maybe in the back, and you're just feeling into that sensation. Now our increments here are going to be from knees closed to knees wide. So your feet stay wide and you're going to slowly let the knees come away from one another a little bit. Yep. And then away even more. Even more. Yep. And you're just going to keep going to your widest point in these stages. So really just trying to understand your body better. And then once you've gone to your max, start to incrementally come in. Little stages. Until you're fully relaxed with wherever the legs land. Pause there. We're going to do this 2 more times. So slightly open. Slightly open. Yep. And you're going to keep going in little increments until you found your widest expanse where the hips are in abduction, a little bit of external rotation. Once you found your max, pause there for a moment. And then we start to journey back. All right, we're fully relaxed. Let's try one leg. You want to try one at a time, and we'll do this a couple times. So one knee is going to come slightly open. A little bit more. A little bit more. Yep. And you just keep going until that one side is coming open. You find your max position in that leg, and then it slowly journeys back. Once the knees kind of butt up against each other again, we do the other side. So now just that one leg starts to come open. It journeys in a way that you have this little bit of expanse. Find your max position on that one side, pelvis flat, and then we go to the other. We come back. So we hold here passively. And we'll do it one more way, but let's do it even differently. So we'll take one side, go slightly open, and you're just going to keep going slightly open until you get to your max position on that hip. Pause there. Now the other side, it's going to slowly, incrementally start to go open. So at the end, both will be open. And now that first side that you did starts to come in incrementally, one at a time. Little pauses. Once that's internally rotated, we take the other side and we bring it back, journeying it very slowly until both sides are closer together. Let's take a breath. Nice. Let's take both legs straight. Roll the legs in and out. Roll the head left to right. And we'll take the arms up towards the ceiling and give them a shake. So you have three things going on here. Legs are rolling, head is rolling, arms are shaking. And then we come back to center. We'll bend the knees. I'd like to do the same increments in a bridge pose. So you have knees bent. And you're going to slowly start to lift up the pelvis. So maybe it unweights at first. And then it unweights a little bit more. And you're pausing along the way. We go up a little bit more, pause. A little bit more, pause. And so you're finding your max position. And it does, again, it doesn't have to be so effortful, but it has effort towards the end there. Once you're at that reach, slowly undo it just a bit. Undo it a little bit more. A little bit more. And we're going to keep doing that until you've gone all the way down to the floor, fully relaxed. So things to pay attention to as you're journeying up is, the two sides. So if one leg takes over, maybe the feet, if the feet have a different foundation, the higher up you get, and what starts to layer on in terms of engagement. So let's do that again. So we start to come up. Maybe you come up a little bit more, a little bit more. And we keep going in increments. Once you found your max position, you just hold it for a moment and then you undo just a bit. Undo a little bit more. Observe all the sensations, observe what's going on. This could quite possibly be harder than if we were to just any of these things that we're doing, come all the way to relaxed. It could be quite harder than just pushing up into something. Sometimes when we force it, it's going to happen. There's no mindfulness about it. This is so mindful, it actually makes it harder. Okay, so we're going to do it one more time. We have these little increments. Once you've gotten to your max, pause. And we slowly start to journey back down. And this type of mindfulness, this type of coordination, this type of control over your body, it works into every area of your life, including the crevices of the mind. So once you're all the way down, let's drape the knees over to one side, take a breath. Beautiful, other side. And then we come back to center. I'd love to do this in the other two bridge poses, externally rotated and internally rotated. So let's do externally rotated first. Soles of the feet together, knees wide. So teeny tiny increments. We start to lift just barely. Pause. We come up a little bit more. Pause. Start to feel what engages as you go up. Is it more the feet? Is it more the buttocks? Is it more the legs? Does it keep changing along the way? These are just little things to pay attention to. So you're really, truly feeling what the benefits are for your particular body. Once you get to your max, pause there. And then we slowly start to disengage a little bit. Pause. A little bit more. Pause. We just keep going all along the way, back down until you can fully surrender right into the floor and knees at their, capacity of opening. And then we do it again. Slightly left. A little bit more. Keep adding on. And then we start to delayer. So we slowly start to come down. To fully relaxed. So really feel yourself let go for that brief moment, and then we come back in. So one more time. Journey the whole way. And when you're down, fully release, even in the hips. Yes, and then bring those legs along. Let's take some breaths. So we have internal rotation now. So we bend the knees, place the feet wide, knees towards one another. So we're going to incrementally come up into our bridge pose this way. This one's a little bit harder. So just do the best that you can. So you start to unweight the pelvis, and then we start to go a little bit higher. So we kind of journey along the way. Once you find your max position, pause, and then slowly start to come out of it. When you're fully down, fully let everything release, including the pelvis, lower back, hips, and then we come back up. So we slowly start to layer on. Once you're at your max capacity, start to lower. Fully release. And one more. Good. And when you're fully rested, lengthen those legs. Okay, so let the legs roll in and out, head roll side to side, and the arms can come up and they can shake. Nice job. All right, let's bend the knees again, placing the feet flat. Take the hands behind the head again, where the fingertips are interlaced, elbows are wide. So there's that moment where you can fully surrender down. So we don't know what to expect, or maybe you do, and you fully let yourself go just for that moment. And we're going to do the same abdominal exercise that we did before, where it's in stages. So we barely lift up. That's one. We pause, go up a little bit more, pause. It's like your abdominals are going to stop you where they're at their max. That's fine. And then just start to journey your way down in stages where there's a slow release until you get all the way to the floor and there's a full relax. So it's almost like you feel the spreading out from elbow to elbow across the chest. We'll go again. We start to lift a little bit more. And nothing really changes other than slight intensity layering on. And then you have the backing out of it in layers. To fully rested. And we do one more. No rush for the fullest expression. We're feeling the journey. That's life, right? Life has a big journey that we do. We journey back down. There's a lot of patience for it. There's a lot of, effort for it. That way, when you get all the way to the ground, fully relaxed, there's more release than normal. Take a breath. Nice job. Now let's roll to our sides. So you could support the head with the arm if you want, and the knees are curled in. And we're going to do the same movement with the legs, and we'll just see how it goes. Okay, so there's a relaxed place with the legs right now, and all you're going to do is just slightly lift the feet barely off the floor. So knees stay down, feet come up, and then lift a little bit more, and a little bit more, and you just keep journeying up. Once you've found your max position, start to slowly layer it away. So we come down a little bit, down a little bit more. Good. Keep going. So by the time you get to that, like barely hovering above the floor to fully relaxed, you almost feel what fully relaxed means for your body. Okay, we'll do it again. So we start to lift the feet up a little bit more. It's so slight, the layering on of work. It's almost like no one can really notice but you on how intense it starts to get. And then we slowly start to release. Until you get fully down. Take a breath. Now let's do the knee lifting. So the feet were lifting before, now the knee's gonna lift. So we lift it just slightly off. So feet stay down, knee comes up a bit, and then the knee comes up a little bit more, a little bit more. And we keep going to the max position. So it's just one knee, just the top knee. And then we slowly let that go where it starts to come down until both knees are back stacked, one over the other, fully relaxed. And then we do that again. So one knee starts to come up, the top knee, and we start to journey open. Little stages, you get to your max. So it's much less movement, right? So it's a little bit more mental effort to do this. We start to come back and we fully relax down. Now let's do one where we include both. So now the feet start to lift in stages. When you get to your max position with the feet, now slowly start to lift the knee a bit. The top knee lifts a little bit more, just the top knee. It lifts a little bit more, and you keep going until you have the fullest expanse of the upper knee and the feet. Okay, now let's start with the knee. The knee starts to come down a bit. It starts to come down a little bit more, a little bit more. Okay, so once the knees are together, then we start to work on the feet, unwinding and delayering until it's fully down on the floor, relaxed. Okay, I feel like we should do one more of those just to really get it in the body. So we'll start with feet, start to come up in little stages until you get to your max position. Then the knee starts to lift a little bit until it gets to its max position. Yes, now the knee starts to close again. Good. Once you're there, relax. Now the feet starts to delayer. Yes. Until you're fully relaxed. Take that breath. And when you fully relax, you notice all the tension that you maybe had elsewhere that you didn't realize. All right, let's roll to the other side. So we just come back to center and we roll. So we just have this on this side and then we'll be ready for Shavasana. So you can stack the head, curl in the knees. We take a breath here. So let's start with just the feet lifting. So they slowly start to lift, we pause. They slowly start to lift a little bit more, pause. And we keep going until we find our max position of this rotation. And then we slowly unlayer that. So they start to come down in little stages. Until you're fully rested. We'll do that again. So they start to come up in little increments. Once you're at your max, we start to undo that. Go to fully relaxed. One more. Now, once you're fully relaxed, pause there. We're now going to do the knee. So just that top knee is going to lift a little bit. It's going to lift a little bit more, a little bit more. So you have much less movement in this. Pause when you get to your max, and then we come back a little bit down, a little further. We keep going until both knees are together and let everything go. Then we do it again, just the top knee. And it starts to come back. And then we do, did your hip pop? Oh my God. And then we do one more. Fully relaxed. Okay, now we just have 2 repetitions left. We're going to add both and then we are done. Okay, so tons of mental effort in today's class. So first we do the feet. The feet start to lift in little increments. Okay, once they're lifted to their max, now start to open the knee in little stages. So there's pauses along the way. Once you get to your max there, start to bring the knee back. Once you fully relax the knees together, start to bring the feet down. Little stages. So when you get to your final, that relaxation of the pose, you feel everything else relax. Okay, that's what we're looking for. One more. This is it. The feet start to slowly lift. They find their max position. Now the top knee. Little stages. Yes. Beautiful. Then the knee starts to come down once you found your max position. Once the knees have settled, then the feet start to go into those little stages. Yes, so you might be feeling a lot on the side of the hip, probably closest to the floor. And then you fully let it go. Beautiful. Take a breath. Nice job. Rolling to your back. Let's lengthen our legs, roll them in and out, roll the head left to right, and shake the arms. And let's take a breath, let everything relax. Okay, so to ensure that Shavasana is like fully surrendered, we're going to do another exercise here. So whether your legs are extended or not, you're going to start to tighten the whole body, the whole thing. And you're going to keep increasing the intensity of squeezing and squeezing. So fists, toes, everything's going to engage the entire body, buttocks, belly, face, jaw, clench, and then let it go. Okay. We're going to do that again. You're going to incrementally layer on, and then you're going to incrementally let it go. Okay, so we'll try that again. So you start to tighten the whole body, and it starts to build and build and build. Let everything build until everything is tight. Now slowly unbuild that. So a little bit goes, and a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, and really feel when you fully surrendered and what that feels like for your body. And let's do it one more time. Slowly build up that tension. Keep building until the whole body is tense, and then let it go incrementally, slowly, slowly, and feel where your body goes naturally and neutrally. Then you know where your neutral place is for your legs, your arms, your neck, and we breathe. I'm super impressed by everyone in that practice. That was not easy. There was a lot of intricacies to it. So nice job really finding an intensity and then a relaxed place with it. Okay. So here we are at the end. We won't be here for too long because, um, we've found that relaxed place. There's a tuning in and just understanding that there's a deeper sense around us of what's going on. So situations around us may not appear as they are based on all the stuff that happens with the other planets, other people's emotions. All you know is that you're staying in your lane of your emotions, your body, your physical experience, and your personal responsibility. So we breathe that in, we breathe that out. And if you want, you could have one hand on the heart, one hand on the belly. That's up to you. And I will do a chant that's for the heart. Gate, gate, pada, gate, pada sangate, bodhi swaha. Gate, gate, pada, gate, pada sangate, bodhi swaha. Gate, gate, pada, gate, pada sangate, bodhi swaha.